Have you ever reached a point in your life where you've just had enough? An experience or multiple experiences that lead you to a place where you just can't take it anymore. And then that leads you to take inventory of why and how you got to that point in the first place. This video is about me reaching a breaking point and then deciding that I wasn't going to allow myself to give in to my circumstances. This video is about the steps I took to rebuild my life. So we covered the negative, for the most part. We brushed over a lot of major negative things that have happened to me in my life to get to this point. This point is the turnaround. Now I'm going to take the previous 3 videos, the negativity that I discussed there, and I'm going to show you how I changed my mindset into a more positive outlook to be an inspiration to people that are going through negative. That, listen, that negative is what's holding you back. You got to stop that. No matter, even if people say fake it till you make it. Well, fake positivity until that's what you start to attract in your life. I had a real negative mindset. Like, everything about my life was negative, and that's all I could think about. But thankfully, I remembered the secret. And once I remembered the secret, I had seen it years ago. I think over 10 years prior to this point, maybe about a decade prior to this point, I had seen the secret, and at that time it changed my life. But of course, life happens to us all, and I forgot about it, and I put it on the back burner, and then that's when real things really started to get bad. So at this point, when I was just down and out, I was literally having emotional and mental breakdowns in my own house by myself, because at the time I was living alone. I just would sit on the floor and bawl my eyes out because I was so sad and so depressed. And a better word to describe it, I was just lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anyone to turn to. I didn't have any idea whatsoever of how to dig myself out of the hole that I got myself into. No matter who helped me, or no matter where the blame can go, the fact is that I was responsible for where I was in one way or another. So I was lost. I just realized that no matter what, it's up to me. I had to make the realization that it was up to me to make things change in my life. I had no support. I didn't have any friends. So, I've never had much of a family. So I had to make a decision for myself that I needed to dig myself up out of the own hole that I dug myself into. I kind of just made a decision to work on myself. Like that, to me, it was like I had to start from square one. And to start from square one to me meant working on myself. I had to be a better person. In my mind, if I was a better person, then better things would happen to me in my life. So that's the decision I made. Just be a better person. And then thankfully, I remembered the secret. If any of you have ever read the book or seen the documentary, if you haven't, I suggest you check that out immediately. The secret was working in my life at one point in time. I had embraced it fully in my past, and it worked well for me, and I've manifested well. And I knew that it worked. I knew that the secret worked for me because I had used it in the past to work for me. But somehow I forgot about it. I didn't really forget about it, but it was like I put it on the back burner. I put it out of my mind, and it's probably one of the greatest mistakes I've ever made. I can only imagine how good I would be at using manifestation in my life now had I been practicing it from 10 years ago when I first learned about it. But thankfully now I remembered it. So I started focusing on positive stuff. This meant people, places, and things. I had to get everything negative out of my life. And over the next year, that meant getting rid of all of my friends. Because unfortunately, some of them were good people that are just going through a tough time themselves. But I can't babysit nobody because I can't even do for myself. So if you weren't lifting me up, then you had to go. And there was no one lifting me up. There was no one helping me lift myself up. It was always somebody, a lot of it was drugs. A lot of the friends that I lost was due to drugs because they were having so severe problems with drugs that I just couldn't help them. And more importantly, it wasn't up to me to help them because I couldn't even help myself. So I rid myself of all the negativity in my life. And when the dust cleared and settled and I looked around, I was all alone. But that was not a bad thing to me. That meant that I could focus fully on myself and being a more positive person. The next important step that I took was I unplugged from the social construct. I unplugged from social media. I unplugged from a lot of the stuff that was going on around me that people consider normal in life. Like I stopped watching TV. I love to play video games every once in a while, and I decided to stop doing that. Like I pretty much gave up all of my unnecessary hobbies, like stuff that people do on a regular basis that is I just found as a distraction. Like it was distracting me from doing what I needed to do to be a better person. So I unplugged. Then I really started working on my manifestation. I had a lot fewer distractions. I kind of had a realization that I never forgot about the secret. We're always manifesting. And up until this point, I was manifesting on autopilot, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to be in charge of my manifestations. Like I didn't want all this time I had been manifesting negative in my life. It was because I was bringing it into my life through the power of attraction. And I didn't want to attract negativity anymore. So it was up to me to start focusing with intention on positive and attract good things into my life. So then I kicked it up another notch. I started really focusing on self improvement. I started meditating. I started listening to motivational and inspirational tapes and speeches, and I really started to research and focus on how to be a better person. Along with meditation, after a few weeks of meditation, I started to become aware. I think one of the major problems people have in their lives is they're not aware of themselves. They're not aware of their surroundings. People think that they're aware. Oh, I know I'm in this room. I see everything. I know everybody that's in this room. People think they're aware, but I don't really think that's the case. People are not aware. I didn't want to be like that anymore. So meditation had drawn that to my attention. I was not aware, and now I was becoming aware that I was not aware. And with that, I realized the major problem that I was having in my life: awareness. So now that I was aware that I had been unaware, I really started focusing and improving my awareness. Now all of a sudden, good things are starting to happen to me in my life. One of the major things that happened to me that I attracted to myself that was what I would have considered impossible a few weeks prior to that, my 13-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old at the time daughter, I now have custody of her, and I've had custody of her for going on 2 years now. So I know that I manifested that into my life because I live in the state of Florida. Florida is what's known as a mother state. They always side with the mother in the court of law. But I manifested legal custody of my daughter with my own positive mindset and my own positive attractions. Like there's no way. And if I was to tell you the story in full, you would understand why I know that I manifested it into my life. Because it's anybody who's ever gone through that in the state of Florida knows it's next to impossible for a father to get custody of their daughter, even in the worst situations. They always side with the mother. Most of the time they side with the mother. Even in situations where the child is better off with the father, it doesn't matter. Florida is always going to try to stick with the mother in that situation. So that getting custody of my daughter, I knew that I had manifested that in my life, and that was proof to me that I was making the right steps. So then the next thing I started doing was I started working on my physical fitness. By this point in my life, I had really improved with my awareness, with my spiritual, mental, and emotional health. But I was like, hey, that's not all there is. You know, I used to work out back in the day, and maybe I should get back into that. So I started working out and getting a better physical health going for myself, and not just focused on mental and emotional, because, you know, obviously mental and emotional is more important than physical. But if you work on all of it together, then it really pulls everything in and you get the max benefits from your overall health. So I started working on my physical health as well. And then to wrap this up, I decided I wanted to be a creator. And I think the decision came with the fact that I had been doing so well for myself, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like I was starting to find myself, and I was just like, hey, I want to share this with the world. And then that kind of pushed me in the direction of making videos for YouTube so that I could show people through meditation and awareness and routine that you can make yourself a better person. You can make your life a better life for yourself. And that's the reason I started creating videos in the first place, because I wanted to share my experience with the world. Because there are people that get so down and out in their life that they think there is no hope. And I know from my own personal experience that there is hope. No matter how hard it has gotten in your life, you can pull yourself out of it. And sometimes, if you're like me, in my own personal situation, I had to do it on my own, which is why I'm sharing this video. Because I want you to know that even if you have to do it on your own, It is possible. And the main tool that I've used to do it is the law of attraction and manifestation. I realized that I was manifesting and attracting negative, and I needed to manifest and attract positive. So I started to do that, and I'm still doing that. So the next video is going to be covering some other things that are happening in my life right now that I'm not even worried about, because I know that when I gave up and I gave in and started focusing on attraction, that is when the changes started to happen in my life. If you found any value in this video, or you can relate to anything I said, leave a comment below and let me know. Also, hit the like button, and of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And I just want to thank you, and I want to wish you nothing but blessings and abundance in your life. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon.